expressed in this podcast are solely those of the hosts and guests. All individuals mentioned are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.
Hello. Welcome to Moms for Justice. I am Carolyn.
Good evening.
Yes, I'm Carolyn, and this is Jocelyn. How are you guys doing? Welcome to our channel. We are doing an episode today called If Wendi is Innocent, Here's Why.
I'm very excited for this episode because I don't know if anybody caught our other episodes, but I tend to believe that Wendi's more on the innocent side. So I know that you're on the opposite side. So I'm eager to hear what you have to say.
Yes, I have a lot of reasons to think she's guilty of sin, but I wanted to be fair because there are a lot of people out there that most people I know think she's guilty, but I wanted to give her like a fair shot and find all the things that maybe her defense could come up with that would prove that she's innocent. So we'll go through that. But before we start, I wanted to play a little fun short for the moms out there today, and dads. We love you too, dads. But I just wanted to play this for you guys because it was so funny. I saw this mom. It's hilarious. Wait when you see this. Okay, here we go. Wait, let me move over this way. Okay, here we go. If it'll play. Girl.
On the phone, you and me, till dawn.
Look at her getting down.
What about us, girl?
Whoa, did you see that move?
Do it. In the park, on the beach.
She is dancing.
Isn't she awesome? All right, now I gotta get it to stop, y'all.
On the phone, you and me.
Bye. Okay, don't look at my email. Don't. Okay. So anyway. We're back to the episode. Okay, so Wendi Adelson.
Before we start, I just want to say, don't forget to like and share and subscribe to our podcast.
Definitely. Okay.
Yes, love it.
Yes, there you go. Don't forget.
There you go.
Subscribe right now, right below. Hit the like button, leave us comments, and subscribe to the channel for sure. Okay.
All right. So what we got?
Well, first I'm just going to recap it. We're kind of in the middle of this series. We've been talking about this for a while. We have a couple episodes in a playlist. But I'll do a quick recap one more time. It's real super short. So in July 2014, FSU law professor Dan Markel was shot and killed in Tallahassee in his driveway. A murder linked to his bitter custody battle with his ex-wife, Wendi Adelson. He had 2 children with her. The investigation revealed that hitmen were hired, Sigfredo Garcia and Rivera, hired by Wendi's brother, the ex-wife's brother, Charlie Adelson. So this was to enable Wendi to relocate down to Miami to be near her parents with her children in South Florida. But Dan Markel said, no, they're my kids too. You have to stay here in Tallahassee. Garcia received a life sentence. Rivera cooperated and got a reduced sentence. And then Katherine Magbanua, who was connected to both the Adelsons and the Hitmen, was also found guilty. While suspicions surrounded Wendi and her family, particularly her brother and mother, Donna, who's an absolute nightmare, Charlie was the last to be convicted and is serving a life sentence. Donna was arrested a day after and is now in jail awaiting trial in September. Wendi has always maintained her innocence, and neither Charlie nor Donna have actually spoken to her since because she will not talk to them. So that
Donna
is a recap.
won't talk to them.
Donna
who talks to her kids 2-3 times a day?
Well, what I meant to say was they're no longer in contact because Wendi refuses to talk to them at the advice of her lawyer.
I understand that.
Okay.
I would too.
So, I don't know who on here. if anybody's on here want to just go ahead and just tell me, just type out guilty in the comments, or innocent. I would love to hear your opinion. Hi, Tony. Just want to say hi to everybody first.
Who's here? Hi.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
I saw your mom. She came on.
Yeah, there she is. I see her.
Yeah.
Okay. Why is Wendi innocent? Or why could they say she's innocent? My first point I want to make is keeping her out of it for the sake of the kids. Okay. So it's entirely possible that Donna and Charlie planned the whole murder and said, we're not going to involve Wendi because those kids are going to need a stable parent and we don't want her to ever get in any kind of trouble. And, you know, we would take the fall for it if we had to. That's the first reason why she could be.
I highly agree with that one.
You do agree with that one?
Highly agree with that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Emails and communication with Donna. Okay, so emails were going back and forth months before the murder, and they show no plan to kill Dan on either side. In other words, Donna is emailing Wendi, and she's emailing her all these things, but never mentions anything about wanting to get rid of him. And everything she says in the emails does not support that she's about ready to commit murder. So
Right.
my assumption is that it wasn't being planned even a couple months before, that it was very last minute.
Okay.
One thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to show a little bit of the emails. I actually have the original copies of her emails, and they're long. And I can send
Very
you a
long.
link. I could put a link
Yeah.
after the live stream ends if anybody wants to read it, and you can read all of them. But just move this over. Sorry, there's this thing in the way over here.
Yeah, they were long. Very interesting though, the letters. I mean, you definitely can
Yeah.
see a side of Donna's thought process. But the
Personality.
good thing is that really Wendi never responded to these emails, which were some of these
That's actually
emails
false.
were ridiculous.
No, she did respond, but her reply was, "I deleted mine, but not hers," which is going to end
I
up in
deleted.
she deleted hers only. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
but
what she says.
but can you not can you not see it on Donna's side?
No, they couldn't find them, and that's in my list. So,
Oh. No.
so yeah, so
Well, according to the court trials with Charlie, it says that didn't she testify that she deleted them? Or no, she didn't. She didn't respond. The one about the Nazi email, she did not respond to.
right.
She
Well,
could have responded to other ones.
Okay, I'm not there yet though. I'm almost there.
Okay.
Okay, so I just highlighted this one section so everybody know. This is an email to Wendi, but here she says the most important part of your divorce is relocation. I sincerely hope your attorney understands that. That it is non-negotiable is what she's meaning to say there. Okay, so there's that one. All right, and then over here, okay, let's show this effer what will make him absolutely miserable. You know his weak points: money, religion, control. You have 5 weeks before your court date. I know you have a job that keeps you very busy. However, the rest of your life, and consequently Dad's, mine, and yes, even Charlie's, will be affected by how well you can perform and act before July 31st. You can be a good actress when you want to. I've seen you in action. You need to put on the performance of your life. Jibbers hasn't beaten the Adelson family yet. And there's so much good stuff in these emails. But I went down here. This is her plan of action, y'all. This is her actual email. This is a copy of the email. Number 1, take photo of boys dressed nicely, standing at the front door or by the sign of a Tallahassee church. Keep in mind, if anybody doesn't know, they're all Jewish. And to upset the ex-husband, the mother is saying, let's dress up the kids, and he'll be fearful that you're going to convert them over to Christianity.
And not only is he just, he is more of an Orthodox Jew, so he follows the whole kosher,
right, and they're not.
And temple and all that good stuff.
Then change your Facebook status photo to this one so everyone will see it. Perhaps a line under the photo with "New Beginnings in Tallahassee" might be nice. Within minutes, Jibbers should either see this. Jibbers is Dan Markel, by the way, because they called him that. It was a derogatory name they called him. Jibbers should either see this or will be getting calls from his friends, acquaintances about this. How happy do you think he will be? Number 2, make arrangements to get the boys caught up with a private tutor, teenage Catholic church members who will come to the house to teach these young men about Jesus. If you don't have time to arrange for this to happen, I will happily do it for you. She or he will serve as a good babysitter assistant for you while you're preparing dinner. Let Jibbers know that your children will be baptized in the Catholic Church, and you'll certainly invite him to the event. Let him know that the Catholic Church is a big part of your life now with the boys, and you'd like him to be a part of it. As long as he wants you to remain in Tallahassee, the boys will be involved with you in church-related activities and ceremonies. Let him get used to it. I've already checked this out, and a baptism can be arranged within 2 weeks. We can send out evites to Jibbers, his parents, sister, and anyone else you want to invite. Can you believe this woman? Unbelievable.
Yeah.
The way she speaks. She's just so narcissistic. I'm looking into summer camp programs for the boys. We will pay for it. Even if the boys end up going only for a few days, that they're in Tallahassee on the days you have them prior to the hearing. Register them for toddler classes at church. I've looked into this, and even if they don't go, we can show Jibbers that they are enrolled for the fall semester. And you cannot tell anyone this is an act. Somehow it will get back to Jibbers. Take control from him, ! Get to him psychologically. He's going to want you to stop this. Wendi, you've been through a very difficult year. You had to make a huge decision. You did that. It was the right decision. Now you have one final opportunity to make him angry. We want him ticked off so he realizes he could lose control over his kids. We plan to make a financial offer to him to allow this relocation. You need to work this plan, and we'll help you through it so that it may affect how much we will offer him. Maybe he'd be willing to let you relocate if he knew his children would attend a private Hebrew academy like Donna Klein in Boca, or perhaps he'd like them to invite him to a Christmas party at their other Sunday school. So that's just a little bit of that. I don't think I highlighted anymore, but man, these emails are really juicy.
Yes. Well, she the good thing is that Wendi did not do any of that, right? So I think, I just think Wendi off the bat is a very, I don't want to say shy person, but she's definitely not the leader. I don't think she's a leader type. She's definitely, she listens to her, she listens to her mom to a fault, and she listened to Dan all those years, supposedly, because she claims that, he did most of the decision making. Mm-hmm. But I'm glad that she didn't follow through with any of that.
But clearly, if she was so desperate to make plans to, and by the way, she also said something like dressing up the kids in Hitler uniforms, how awful.
Right.
But if you're going to list all these things, at that moment, there was no murder plot. There couldn't have been, because they're just trying to get him to cooperate. They're not looking to murder him. And and a lot of people on the other side have said, the emails, she knows how to act and all this other stuff. That doesn't prove anything about murder. So driving down Trescott Drive. So I was looking for ways that what they could say, right? She didn't have the kids that day. Just like he wanted to go to games and get-togethers and lunches all the time when she had the kids.
Wait, say it again?
Okay, so one of the things, if you remember, Dan, they had their time with the kids split, right?
Separate, right.
Right. When Wendi had the kids, he would always show up, and he would ask if he could come over and do bedtime. And he'd show up, like if one of them was having a sporting game event or whatever, and it was during Wendi's time, he would show up and sit in the bleachers and watch. He would also say, I'll go to along with lunch with you guys, because he just wanted any moment he could get with his kids, even if it was on Wendi's time frame.
But that's not fair.
No, it's not. But my point is that she could have easily flipped it that way and said, well, I drove down Trescott Drive because I maybe wanted to see my kids, or
But that's not the truth.
No, it's not the truth. I'm telling you what I think the defense might say. The defense might say, well, she went down Trescott Drive because she still was very much not letting go of the marriage completely, and she just drives by to kind of relive her marriage. Maybe also she wanted to see what the kids were up to. Maybe she thought they were still home. These are things that maybe they could say. I think crock of crap, but I'm just what?
Yeah, I think the defense said exactly what she did. I think that's just she says that's the way that she likes to go, and she's is of habit, so that's the way she drives. That's the path that she goes. And like I said, when I told you about that clipping where we tried to show it, if you watch that clip, news, I think it was it was either 2020 or ABC. They did a visual of where the U-turn was that she made and what the visual was from the U-turn to the house, and you couldn't see the house. At the end of the video, the newscaster says that you cannot see a visual of the house from where she turns. So, and don't forget, she had every reason to believe the kids were attending school. So there's no reason for her to go down that street to see the kids because the kids are in school at that time.
Okay, but she didn't have a defense yet. You said the defense said she has not had her day in court. She hasn't even been arrested. I'm saying if she gets arrested, this is what possibly her defense could say. I'm not talking about anything we already heard from the defense for Charlie or any of them. I'm just saying
But that's when she went up on when she was on stand. Yeah, when she was on the stand, that's exactly what she said. Like, that's her reason. Why would she change her reason now? That's
but
silly.
again, we don't know what her defense is going to come up with, and if they're going to say we don't like that you said that, we're going to go. My point is that she has not been represented yet. She hasn't been arrested and has not been defended yet. And in fact, when she was called to the stand, she didn't want to be called by either side. So it's not even Wendi friendly, any of those trials. She was getting grilled on both sides. So yeah, she might have said things like that. But that might not be what her defense comes up with. You know, apparently she has a very expensive set of 3 attorneys that are like the very best you can get. So who knows what they're going to say? I'm just saying that maybe they will say that. You know what I mean? Hey, you know, he wanted to be.
I don't think that would be in her best interest. I don't think that would be in her best interest to change it up from what she says now.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it could be something they could come up with. That's all I'm saying.
Well, right, but I'm saying that's not a legit reason to say she just wants to see her kids because her kids are supposed to be in school.
Maybe they were home that day.
No, she knows that they got dropped off because Dan said that.
Maybe she's going to say that Dan texted her in the morning or called her and said the kids weren't feeling well. Who knows? I'm just saying, why does she drive by Trescott often? I'm not talking about on the day of the murder. She could say, I drove by Trescott because I drive by Trescott all the time because I want to go see my kids and I still am trying to let go of the divorce. You know what I mean? Dealing with the fact that I'm not with this man anymore.
I don't think she has a problem divorcing him. I think she had I don't think she had any second guesses of ever going back once she left.
I know. I agree with you. I'm saying that could be what her defense says. There's a whole different story.
Yeah, but you're not going to tell your defense lawyer to say that if that's not the truth. It's not the truth. She did not.
You don't think people lie? You don't think the defense comes up with all cockamamie stories all the time?
But that doesn't make any sense for her to do that because she would want to be truthful.
Oh my God. She's lied so much already. She's been shown to lie already. She's had 3 times to testify, and there's been lies in all 3 of them. I mean, that's a whole other episode.
Are you going to show us that? Because I would want to see that.
Well, then I'll certainly make a whole episode for you about all her lies. I certainly will. No problem.
Yes.
Okay, so one of the things the prosecution liked to question Wendi about was the life insurance. The reason why I think that is, hold on a second. The reason why I think, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I know what you're going to say. I'm assuming you're going to say what I think is that she always knew her name wasn't on it since the divorce.
Right. And she already had a boyfriend and he had a girlfriend and life had moved on and all that. So they could say that. Okay. Dan's sister was executor handling all the distributions to her. They're going to try to press that whole thing. Well, you're still getting the money anyway because you're responsible to deliver it to the kids and their minors. So there's that. Okay, so my next one is Charlie's reaction. And I think that is huge for her defense if she should ever get arrested.
So what's Charlie's reaction? When?
Well, okay, there's a couple things. First of all, between jailhouse calls, between Charlie and Donna, they don't implicate her. They don't say anything in the calls about, darn, why is she being so quiet? Why is she being so mean to me? She's part of this whole thing too, and she's not even talking to us anymore. She doesn't say anything like that. Also, if Wendi was involved, Charlie would be really pissed by this point, right? He's like in jail. He took the full brunt of it. If she was involved, he'd be pretty mad. at the fact that she cut off all communication, and then on top of it, drove by the scene. I mean, let's say she, did it, okay, then drives by the scene. Wouldn't he be like, you totally screwed us, and then have flipped on her already? But he hasn't. Don't you think?
Well, I think, which goes back to your reason one, which is why I highly believe that's the reason. Hey, Rob. But honestly, I think that I don't think that Charlie's even going to rat on Donna.
I don't think Charlie will ever rat on Donna, but I do think.
Yeah, so he's definitely not going to say anything about Wendi. I mean, obviously Donna's like knee deep in it, but
yeah,
I still don't think he's going to rat on her, and there's no way he would rat on Donna. I mean, on Wendi, if he hasn't,
Right. Okay, Katie Magbanua's testimony. She never said anything about Wendi being a direct person that she dealt with in terms of having Dan Markel murdered. And
she confirmed also that she only met Wendi twice.
Yeah, I heard somebody say on a Reddit post that she thought that picture of them in the bikinis on the beach, that Donna only hung out with her in a bikini because that way she wouldn't see a wire.
You mean Wendi?
Wendi and Katie were on the beach in a picture, and she said, yeah, she hung out with her. Somebody heard something about the fact that she only hung out with her that day in the bikini because she was willing to hang out with her, because then she'd be able to see if she had a wire on her.
Yeah, but that picture was taken before the murders. Right. So why would she wear a wire?
She was very paranoid, Wendi. She was paranoid way before the whole thing happened. Mm-hmm. I don't think.
Well, maybe.
I don't think what? Stop it. Oh, you have to rewrite that. I can't read it.
I think that maybe she was what that word you say? Cautious, because maybe it's true what she said that a year before he really looked into it, and maybe she shut it down, and they just never catered to it. And then when they decided to really do it, they kept her out of the loop. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Okay. Yes, I do.
Which is why I think that that's why she said that during the first day of interrogation, when they took her in the day that he died. She said, well, could it be like my brother? Like, she actually was like talking out loud,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And it pains me to do this list because I'm an honest, fair person. So I'm glad I'm doing this, but it also pains me at the same time because you'll see. So there are no wiretaps with Wendi on him. There's no emails showing she conspired. There's not even a text message or a secretly recorded conversation anywhere, and they took her phones and computers and everything and examined them, and they didn't find anything.
Yeah, okay. They did a deep dive.
And it bothers me that they couldn't find anything. I mean, they can dig up anything these days.
Right. So, I don't think that according to the evidence as of now, I think she's innocent. I do. For everything that's out there. And there's actually nothing out there.
Okay. Her interrogation behavior can be a neutral thing. It could go towards innocent or guilt. The reason why I think possibly innocent is because if you're gonna mention Charlie's joke in the first 20 minutes, wouldn't that be pretty stupid if you were involved in the murder?
Oh.
First 20 minutes of the interrogation, she brings up Charlie as being a possibility and her family not liking Danny. She's basically given them her family. Who does that if you're guilty of murder yourself? You'd be pointing it towards you.
Right. She didn't bring it up. They asked her, has anybody had any ill will towards your husband? You know what I mean? And so, I mean, she's just thinking of anything that's negative that's towards her husband. So, and she names quite a couple other stuff. But you're right. I mean, why bring up the joke if you really know about it?
I don't think it matters who brought it up first. What I'm saying is, it's just for her to say it. That early.
Well, she only said it because she was answering a question. She wasn't like, "Oh, hey, by the way, my brother does."
Honest Wendi, because Wendy's so honest, right? No, I think she's very strategic, and I think she does things for her own agenda. So. I disagree with you. Oh, well, that's because she's being honest. Give me a break.
I think she said it because she was asked. It didn't come out in left field from her.
Right, and she strategically answered it, possibly, is what I'm saying. So anyway, if she was innocent, who would do that is my point. Who would say bring up her family? Okay, let's see what we
So
got.
your mom said, what'd she say?
I think she's guilty of not trying to stop the murder. At the very
Well,
least.
see, I think that they suggested it the year before, and I think that she shut it down, and I think they went through the murder and didn't tell her about it, and I personally think that she knows, and that's probably the reason why she hasn't spoken to them, because she doesn't want to be able to lie in front of the stand and say she knew something about it. But I don't think she knows it was actually happening. It was going to happen.
And my last reason is her behavior after the murder. Her failure to reach out to Charlie and Donna may be seen as an indication that she was not involved in the crime, as she would likely have been motivated to reach out to her family if she had known about the murder beforehand. So if she knew about it, wouldn't she have called right away?
No, I don't think she would have. No, I think if you knew about it, you should be smart enough not to connect yourself to them after the day of the murder.
But you could also say that if she was involved too. I'm not getting involved in this.
No, because
I'm walking away from this one.
If she knew about it.
If she knew about it, it could work.
Knew about it and was okay with it, or knew about it.
No, I think if she's truly innocent, she could stop talking to them because she's truly innocent and wants nothing to do with it. And I also think that if she's guilty, she can stop talking with them because she's trying to disassociate herself with her part. So it's kind of a neutral. It's going to be on my other list because
it could go either or. I see
or.
both sides. Yeah,
you do, right? Yeah. All right. So guess what? I have a list of all the reasons why I think she's guilty too. But go ahead.
Wait, let me see. Other things why I think that make her innocent is because she was, according to what she testified, she was going to buy a house in Tallahassee, and she was trying to move forward. And the reason why she didn't buy the house was because he was supposed to give. Because she signed part of their agreement, divorce agreement, was that she had to sign over the deed, and he was going to pay her half the equity of the house. And so their divorce went through. Do you remember when their divorce went through? I want to say like November or something, right? Of the previous year or something like that. I can't remember. Or was it in the spring?
October.
I can't.
I think October.
October she was supposed to. Oh, right, October. So she was supposed to get this house, but she had to step away from the deal because he never gave her the money for her share of the house. So they were going to go to court for that now too.
Okay.
So anyway, her plans were that she did, have into works to buy this particular house, and she couldn't. So I just think that she planned everything as if she was staying there. And I do believe that she didn't think she was going to stay in Tallahassee forever. I do think that Dan was willing to move his career to another place eventually.
Okay.
But we don't know.
Why did she tell her boyfriend enough info to upset him?
Wait, what?
Why did she tell her boyfriend enough info to upset him? Well,
what info?
Well, I'll mention Jeff because Jeffrey Lacasse is her boyfriend, guys. She was dating this guy, Jeff. And I'll mention him. Why could she be guilty? First of all, she was acting strange the week before the murder. In fact, long before the murder. Acting really strange. Being sick all the time, and like her stomach was always messed up, and she was acting strange with Jeff. So yeah, I think she was acting strange. There's a lot of testimony about that. She also immediately moved to Miami.
Just from Jeff.
Huh?
Just from Jeff.
Just from
only Jeff. Yeah, nobody else said that.
Yeah, well, I think Jeff is really credible, and he hasn't been proven to be a liar in any way. So, I mean, you can't just take some...
Yeah, I don't like his character, but go ahead.
Really? That's too bad.
Yeah.
Immediately moving to Miami, just 2 days after the murder, Shows a lack of grievance and disrespect to Dan Markel, I think. Those are
Wait, is that number
kids.
3?
Um,
Is that, wait, you said number 2, which was moving to Miami, right?
no, I'm still on 2.
Okay.
I'm still on 2. Immediately moving to Miami just days after the murder. It shows a lack of grievance and disrespect for him, the father of her children. It's not necessarily proof of guilt, but it's one of the little things that when you add it all together. Changing the last names of the children back to Adelson. My dog is banging on the door. I'm so sorry. He won't stop. Changing the last names of the kids it's just, I can't get past that one. That's really tough for me. Those are his children, and he only died 2 days. And if you had nothing to do with it, I mean, any normal person would be grieving and sad. I mean, this is somebody you spent years of your life with, you had children with, and you can't even give him the respect and let the kids, which most kids do carry their father's name. So it's not a commonplace to change a child's name back because someone dies. And that's one thing that you and I have never agreed on. And you seem to think that that's completely okay, which it's
yes,
not.
I do. Even the whole moving to Miami, I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I mean, you're talking about living in Tallahassee, and you don't and you have no relatives there, and your husband died, and you're not with your boyfriend.
Yeah,
what
the
is
fact that you do it in 2 days is really bad.
2 days.
No,
absolutely.
it looks really bad.
No, it doesn't look really bad. It looks like you need support. It looks like you need somebody to help you, because if your husband just died, your ex-husband just dies, and you only have your 2 kids. I mean, they're 3 and 4. You need help. You need to move.
She had a ton of friends, and her mother was traveling up all the time. For her to, let's say I was innocent and I did not, and I had some respect for my ex-husband, I would be like, you know what, it just happened 2 days ago. I'm not going down there right now. Can you come up here and help me out? That could have been done, but she didn't do that.
She didn't move 2 days later.
She
went,
did.
No, she went down to Miami and then
never came back, and she knew darn well she was never coming back. She knew darn well.
Maybe so, but she didn't. She moved down because she needed help, and why would you not want to go down to see her?
Stop with the help. Parents? She did not need help. She had friends.
She did.
No, she had so many girlfriends. She had a job at FSU. No. I'm sorry.
Well,
she had
I
every
think
reason to at least
leaving
hang in there.
I think leaving your job is totally legit if your ex-husband just died and you have 2 young kids.
Okay, but at least plan a little bit. Let's be respectful. The Markels were in town for the funeral and everything, and you just get up and leave and take the kids. Those are their grandchildren too, by the way. She could have been a little nicer and a little more accommodating to his family, more respectful towards him, and this crap about needing support. She could have went down in a couple months. She didn't have to go down in 2 days.
Absolutely. Listen, this woman is weak already.
No,
so apparently
not.
She get.
No,
yeah,
she's not.
She gets sick all the time. She gets sick all the time. I mean,
she's getting sick all the time because she knows her husband's about to get murdered. That's why she was getting sick all the time. You know that, right? That's exactly why she threw up in a restaurant, because he was murdered.
I think because he was murdered, but I think she threw up at the restaurant because she didn't go out for 2 weeks. She said that she hardly ate. I believe that. And she had sushi, for Christ's sake.
She hardly ate because she knew that she was part of a murder.
I don't think she knew. And honestly, if you need help, who are you to say you should have not needed help, or you should have used this help as opposed to that help? Who is any of us to say that this is the kind of help that you should have?
A normal person would have stuck around a little bit, tended to his family. The funeral was happening. Respect for her ex-husband. She just and took off and never came back. So she left for Miami in 2 days. She moved to Miami in 2 days, as far as I'm concerned. She didn't decide later, once I was down there, I'm just not going to go back. Give me a break. That's such crap.
She most likely moved. She most likely went to Miami thinking she'll never go back. I absolutely agree with that. But the fact is that if she needed help and if she wanted to go down because she wanted to be with family in an area that she grew up in and that gave her comfort, then that's okay. That's her. That's her derogatory. That's her reasoning. And who am I to say it's wrong because it's not normal to do that? I do agree, though, she should have hung out with the grandparents. I mean, I think she should have. They're coming all the way from Canada. I would have, you know what I mean? But, she didn't. And I'm not going to hold that against her and call her that she's wrong because she chose to find comfort in that way. And then changing the name, I mean, we're definitely going to just not agree on that.
You are so in the minority on that. Most people don't ever drop the father's name on their kids.
Well, I told you already. Listen, right? I already said, like, if I was ever going to be divorced, I always said I was keeping my married name because I want my kids' names and my name to be the same. Now, the reason why she changed it was because she is a lawyer. She never did change her name to Markel. She always kept it Adelson. So I would want my kids to be the same name as me.
But they're his kids too.
I know. I hear you. But that's her direct.
Does anyone hear this? Do you guys agree that it was totally normal for her to drop the name? She knew but did not plan or know when it could take place. I think she felt guilty, could not go to the wake. Okay.
Well, I don't know if she went to the wake or not go to the wake.
It was just a funeral, and it has to be done immediately when you're.
Jewish people do it within within 24 hours, almost 48 hours. So they probably
Angel.
had the.
We have a returning subscriber. I love it. Hi, Angel. I hope you read a little bit about the case.
Hello. I don't. Oh, okay. I don't see her. Oh.
Do you not see the comments, or is just what I put up?
No, I don't. Just whatever you put up for some reason. Yeah.
Most moms would not make a relocation change immediately, but try to stabilize the environment for her kids' well-being. They had their life turned upside down. Agree.
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
Yeah,
that is.
Plus,
but then
they needed their grandparents from his side too. It looks really bad.
Actually, they were there for the funeral. The Adelsons, the mom and dad were there.
Okay.
Charlie wasn't there, right? Or Charlie wasn't there? Charlie didn't go.
Charlie went. Charlie went.
Was he there?
I'm pretty sure.
I don't think Charlie went.
Do not agree that she should drop father's name from kids. There she is.
Hi.
Okay. Angel, if you're divorced and you have kids with your ex-husband, right? And he dies, do you think it's okay to drop the last name of the father on your kids?
If you kept your last name.
Is it disrespectful? They lost their dad to murder, and she goes and changes the two boys' last name back to her maiden name.
To her maiden name, because that's what she goes by.
I think that's disgusting. That is absolutely disgusting. It's just such disrespect. You know what I mean? Okay. So another reason. She told Jeff that Charlie looked into hiring a hitman, making sure that Jeff didn't buy a new TV when it broke because she needed it to be broken the morning of the murder so she'd have her alibi.
Mm-hmm.
We've already yelled about this. She broke up with Jeff just a couple days before the murder to create a jilted boyfriend scenario and then reconfirming he would be leaving the morning of the murder to go on his trip to Tennessee, which he never ended up going that morning. He decided to go the night before. And that screwed everything up for her because they were hoping that Jeff, who was planning on leaving on Friday at 11 a.m., which is exactly when Dan Markel was murdered, they thought, oh, he'll be driving by that area on his way out of Florida and we'll pin the murder on him. To me, Wendi would have to be involved for all that because she's involved with Jeff. She's arranging all this. She's making sure, are you still leaving on Friday? Oh, are you still going here? She also texted Dan in the beginning of the week asking when he was leaving for New York. Okay?
New York? Oh, Dan. Oh, right,
yeah,
right.
He was going to NYU.
Dan.
He was going to NYU or going to see his girlfriend.
He was.
Amy Adler.
No, he had a, but his schedule's also posted on his social media.
Yeah.
Just saying, it is. It's not.
Did you go
Why
and
did
look?
they divorce? Wait, Rob asked, why did they divorce? They divorced because so when he was out having one of his seminars, she literally She literally dipped. Like she took half her belongings, and left the divorce papers on the bed. And I honestly think she did that because she just doesn't know how to, not saying not know how to stand up to him, but I think he was really good about coercing her to do things. And I just don't think she would have had the ability to leave if she did it in front of him. So I think that's why she did it so recklessly in that way.
He wanted to stay with her. He was like surprised by it because she kind of suddenly did it and just like took off. And
right. And he tried for months to get her back, but when she wouldn't go back, that's when everything tables turned. And they're both lawyers, by the way. So even the judge was like, come on, people, let's get it together and start compromising, because they were just constantly putting motions against each other.
And Dan was kind of known. He was known to be kind of like a jerk, especially when he talked professionally with people. And she, being a professional and a lawyer, she thought that he was more important than her, and that his career was more important than her. So they just didn't see eye to eye. Doesn't mean he should be murdered.
Right.
I mean, but all the other things I've read about him have been amazing. I've heard he's like the nicest guy. He was a really good father. And he didn't beat her or anything. She says it was emotional abuse that she felt like this big compared to him.
Right.
But he was a good man. I think he was a good man. And if you listen to his parents too, they talk about what a great son he was to them. So
I'm sure he was.
So Wendi is not acting. This is a big one for me. Wendi did not act angry at all that Charlie and Donna knew the whole time that Hitmen killed Dan and kept it from her.
But where would she act that way? When and where?
Well,
on the stand?
She's on the stand talking about, she was talking nicely about her brother and everything. And then it wasn't like she was displaying anything the opposite of that, but she said, aren't you mad? Aren't you angry about what happened? Why didn't she come out of the woodwork and help more once she knew that?
When she knew what?
That Charlie and Donna were involved.
Well, she didn't know until the first trial. I think Banua's trial, right?
That's what she says.
Yeah.
If you believe that.
But so she also at that point she also is not allowed to speak to them from that point. I believe she hasn't spoken to them. No, it's not
that she's not allowed. She's just her lawyer is like advising her not to talk to them.
Well, same thing.
No, you can do what you want.
Oh, come on. Now you can do whatever you want.
When kids grow up, they will ask why they do not have dad's name. You bet your money on that. Let me tell you something. When those kids grow up, they're going to
they are grown now. This is 10 years ago.
No, they're still
14 and 13, right? 14 and 13.
Well,
all right, you got a couple more
that's
years.
They're minors.
Yeah, no, I know. No, they are.
They ain't grown up. No, actually, this is like the prime time, like, with social media and internet and stuff, where these kids are probably starting to look her up. Now, I'm sure they're not going to ever abandon her because she's all they've got. But I mean, when they're probably in their 20s or something, they're going to really want to know what happened. And then they're going to find out what a piece of crap she is. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, boy. What was your number 4 again? What was your number 4?
I don't have them numbered.
Oh, you don't? Oh, okay.
She broke up with Jeff a couple days before the murder to create,
jealous.
The whole
jealous.
jilted thing.
Right. And she didn't break up with him a couple days before. She broke up with them and then went to Miami and then spoke to and then they were supposed to get together when she came back from Miami. Mm-hmm. They ended up going to yoga class, right?
She invited him to a yoga class.
So they were supposed to go out to dinner.
It was like on the Monday before the murder. They were at a yoga class.
Right, but they had broke up. She said, she had broken up with him before.
Yeah, then she played games and said, "I miss you. I want to have a date."
Right, but then he thought it was going to be out the dinner date, but they did the yoga date instead. So they ended up meeting at yoga, and he said it was weird and awkward, whatever.
It's weird and awkward because she knows a murder is about to happen.
No, I think he was saying just to be on a date doing yoga. I think that's what he
it
meant by
wasn't
that.
that. He said, no, because he said when the yoga was over, you could just feel that we were done. It was her behavior towards him. She was all nice the day before, like, I miss you and all that. Let's go on a date tomorrow. And this is after she broke up with him like two times already. You know what I mean? And then she's reeling him back in because she's got to make this all line up and work. There's a murder that's got to happen on Friday, and her boyfriend needs to be the one leaving town so that he gets it pinned on him. So she had to string him along. And the fact that you give her more credibility than Jeff is really shocking to me.
Because Jeff is just one of those guys who wants to please you. He's a pleaser.
What?
You know why he's a pleaser? Because you watch him on the stand. He's totally like, I don't want to say cocky, but the way he presents himself on the stand, I don't like his attitude there. And not only that, like sending Charlie after, so they go down to Miami. Charlie and Wendi end up, staying with Charlie. It was the first time he meets Charlie. He's on the stand and talking, and he totally says how Charlie's like, sometimes I hang out with the wrong side of the track people, whatever. And so he's saying this on the stand, and then he goes, but then, and so he says how that he thought that was a little weird to say that, and he gave him some reservations about Charlie, but it's my girlfriend's brother, so what am I going to do? And then he sends Charlie a text message after they leave, like, oh, thank you for having us, sleep over at your house. And I had such a great time. I hope to hang out in the future. You're a really great guy. And it's like, okay, he's just one of those pleaser guys. I don't like his attitude.
Poor guy. The fact that he's so innocent. I feel so bad. And you're sitting here ripping him up.
Yeah. I don't like him. I don't really care for him. I don't not like anybody. I just don't find him as believable. And the fact is so he has his interrogation, and then he comes back like a month and a half later with this notebook of pages, because he said he sat there and started thinking about the relationship, and he wanted to jot it down. And then he comes back to the police station and starts, and that's when he was had his second testimony saying about, oh, this happened and then this happened, because I think he feels like he really was supposed to be what's that word, the fall guy, and now he's pissed.
He was.
And he wants. Yeah, which I don't blame him. But now he's pissed, and he's going to make everybody pay for making him look like an idiot, And honestly, I think the reason why she didn't ask him to buy the TV was because she was I think they were fighting at the time, because he kept on saying that she cheated on him, and she wasn't really sure where this relationship was going. I wouldn't want a guy that I'm thinking about breaking up with to buy me a TV. I don't want a $300 TV from a guy. Then I feel obligated. I have to hang out with him more often because he bought me a $300 TV. Like I wouldn't want that. Tied. They will look for grandparents and may possibly file for name change. Never know with kids when they grow up. They
draw
will
their
also
own conclusions.
research research. Oh, they'll definitely research the trial.
Yeah,
Dad's
and then
murder
Tony
and
asked
draw it
about
up.
Donna,
Yeah.
and Tony, Donna is in jail waiting trial, so she has not been tried yet. So there's no. You asked
Right.
me how long did she go away? How many years? She's not, but she's going away, because let me tell you something. The proof on her is probably the biggest.
Well, if they took Charlie, she's going to.
But like if I was dating a guy for a short, it's a short period of time, relatively. What was it, like 8 months?
No.
But only 3 of it was
Yeah.
serious. No,
Right.
They were dating, and then she was dating
Yeah, that's
other
right.
guys,
That's right.
and then they get serious for a couple months. Okay, so it's not that long, It's still very much a new relationship. And then you find out, you come home from a trip, and you find out that I find out my boyfriend's ex-wife has been murdered and all this other stuff. I'm in shock. He drove right to the police station. I don't even think he stopped at home. I think he went right there, if I'm not mistaken. He's in that interview. He's scared. He remembers all these things he heard from Charlie. So all this stuff. So he goes home and he collects his thoughts. And he's kind of like this scholar,
For like
right?
a month and a half.
But he's like this nerdy scholar. So he's like, let me open up my book and write everything down, and that's okay. And I think I probably would do that anyway. I would probably be like, I want to make sure that I remember everything. Think he wanted to buy the TV for the kids, just being a good guy.
Yeah. but it still ties.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
still ties
Jocelyn
him to
doesn't think
her.
he's a good guy. Jocelyn thinks he's a creep. Which
No,
is,
I don't think that. I think that he's shady, is what I think.
Shady is another word for creep.
I don't think it's a creep. Creep to me is like somebody I'm like scared of, or like
Outrageous.
get skivats about. I don't feel that way. I'm just saying that he's just doesn't have a backbone.
That's baloney.
He's one of those pleasers. I want to get my own sound events for you.
You gotta get your own, and you could just like pull them out whenever you want, right?
Yeah, you wait.
Well, anyway, so I would totally be like consumed by that. I would be all I could think about. Oh my gosh, I was just dating somebody that just had a murder in their family. That is a very big deal, and I'd probably be thinking about it when I woke up, when I went to bed at night. It would be the last thing I thought about. I'd be jotting down notes. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I really don't. I think he wanted to be helpful. She was on her way to Vietnam.
She was on her way to
ticket.
Vietnam.
Oh,
She was arrested.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think Lynn disagrees that Donna is guilty.
Yeah.
Right? You think she's guilty.
No. Yeah.
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 But,
I mean, I have to say the defense that they put up for Charlie was really good. I mean, it was a good story, but there's other things that just didn't line up. So
yeah. So like he's a nerd. I don't know if he doesn't have a lot of dating experience, but
no, he doesn't sound like he has a lot of dating.
He's kind of awkward. He's definitely awkward. All right, I'll say that. What do I think about Jeff? He's awkward. He's got like this ADD thing going on. I think he's got ADD, ADHD maybe. He's just kind of
I just think he
might even be on the spectrum.
He just doesn't have, he has no self-confidence. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't
I take that back. I don't want to say that. I don't know if he was on the spectrum. I'm just saying he's like super sweet guy, just scholarly. I don't know. Just people are different, you know. But that's not enough for me to say.
Remember that one time when they went somewhere and then they got into a fight because he again accused her of cheating, and they got into a huge fight, and then on the stand he was like, well, we got into a really serious argument, and but we did drive home together. I mean, so we did drive home, and it's like, you guys drove there together. If you have a humongous fight, who cares? You got to drive home. How's she gonna get home?
He didn't say it like that. He said she wanted to drive home with him. He actually offered her a way out. Would you like me to get you another way to get home? And she goes, no, I'll go with you.
Yeah. Like you can't be you just can't be, I mean, like there's nothing wrong with, even if you had a huge fight about this, just being an adult, get in the car and drive home.
Yeah.
I mean, like, but I think it was great that he offered, but the fact that he was like, well, I did offer for her to get her home another way, but she did drive home with me, so I think we're still dating. It's like, all right, oh my God.
On a side note, it reminds me of something. So when I was in college, I rekindled a relationship with this guy Chris. You remember Chris?
Oh yes.
Okay. Anyway, he asked me to go to Rhode Island with him to go see his family in Rhode Island, and it's like a 4 or 5 hour drive.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
We drove over there and we got in the biggest fight ever, and I had to drive home, and it was the worst ride of my life.
With him?
Yeah, we didn't say one word the whole time. The whole time. It was so awkward. You know what I mean? Yeah, go ahead.
Right. Well, I'm just saying, like, if he offered you another way home, would you have taken it?
I don't know. No, I mean, who else was going to take me home? And I was broke.
That's what I'm saying.
I was a broke college kid.
But do you think Chris thought you guys were still together when he dropped you off?
No. I think we both were like, forget you.
Yeah, well, this is what I'm saying. He's like, well, we got into this huge fight. I did offer a way home, but she said no, she'll ride with me. So I guess we're still together.
He brought me there. He had to take me
home.
Yeah,
but Chris also knew that that's it. It's a done deal, really, without saying it's a done deal.
I'm speculating on that because I don't remember what happened. I mean, I think we got back together again at some point. Okay. But he was one of those guys that would like, we would date, and we would date like full on, like we would like be like that. And then when the breakup happened, we wouldn't see each other for the longest time. And then all of a sudden he'd appear in my life again. It was one of those.
Yeah. I think there's like 3 encounters you guys had, right? Or
They
maybe.
weren't encounters. We dated. You make it sound
Well,
like
I
I had
mean,
like,
you're
yeah,
3 times you
yeah,
dated, whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, we dated at length. You know, got
Right.
may he rest in peace. Oh, because he passed away.
Mm.
So that's really sad.
So young. Yeah.
I know, it was really
Yeah.
horrible.
So anyway, all right. So listen, Friday, we're gonna get back on Friday.
Yeah. So the
We're
thing
gonna
with
want to talk
Friday,
about
so we're
this.
gonna do the Pike County Massacre.
Yeah, and I
Um,
watched that. I watched it. It was a pretty
okay, so it's on Peacock, guys. If you have Peacock,
yes.
watch the Piketon. Is it Piketon?
Massacre. Massacre, yeah.
The Piketon Massacre. Wait, Mom still wants to talk about Jeff, but Jeff
But
was
Jeff
used to
was
her
used to
breaking
her
up.
breaking.
And a few days later, she wanted to continue. Right, she kept playing him, absolutely. And she says he's the shady one. Jocelyn says
Oh
he's the
God.
shady one. She's the shady one.
Listen, he almost like didn't get a clue though either, because remember when they got into an argument because she wanted to say goodbye to her friend who was leaving the state. He was moving to another state, and he was like, "No, I don't want you meeting with him." And she's like, "Well, I'm going to meet up with him at this coffee shop on this day." And then then when she's there at the coffee shop with this guy who's supposed to be leaving, he shows up, and then of course they get an argument over that, and then
because
and
you
then
you don't know how much he was allowed to let in during trial, but you don't know. Maybe she was being like leaning in and being all romantic and stuff with him
when
at the coffee shop.
oh God.
But maybe he wasn't allowed to say that. Maybe that
He
was
did, first of all,
excluded.
we both know that he outright says he didn't want her to go.
If you
So
watch his interrogation, he seems to know a lot more, and it probably wasn't allowed into trial. But not just about that, but other men. He talked in the interrogation how she was having multiple things going on with other men, and I believe
right,
that.
but maybe so. But the fact is that he kept on saying that she cheated, and and obviously they were fighting, and that's why they were on. That's why they were breaking up so often,
Hmm.
because I mean, I don't know. He kept. I mean, why keep on going back to her then? If you thought she was cheating as much as she was, why keep on going back to her? If she's cheating that much.
Yeah. Well, he was whooped, and he didn't want to believe it was true, and that people are allowed a little time to figure that out, because you might have how many times have you had an inkling when you were in high school or whatever after that where you were dating somebody and you thought, are they? And maybe they were, maybe they weren't, but they were certainly giving you some flags, but you didn't want to
Right.
be that weirdo that was like, are you cheating on me right away? Because it was like early in the relationship. So
It
that's
wasn't
very
early in the relationship. It was near the end of
no,
the relationship.
it was early because they weren't really serious except for a
Yes, they
couple
were.
months.
Right. They were serious in January, February, and then it was March time.
That
On
is
the
still
end
a
of
new
March is when he.
relationship, Lynn. That is not
Well,
a
they
long
started date.
term.
They were hanging out from October the year before, but they didn't get serious until come the new year. But
So
he was
what?
accusing her.
It's not even
What
a
do you mean, so
year
what?
old thing
I know,
between
but that's
them.
what I'm saying is that why go back to her if you're constantly think that she's cheating on you?
Because he
It
didn't
makes
want to
no
believe
sense.
that this could be true and he was holding on for hope. That's
Yeah,
what,
I mean, listen, I get that.
I'm so mad at myself right now because I took these quotes from Reddit from a couple people and I really wanted to read them and they're not, and they're probably sitting in my printer right now. And I'm
Where's your
mad
printer?
because I feel like this episode is not complete without it. So I'm trying to find it right now. Oh,
Is it? Well, go look in your printer. Is it in your printer?
because then I'm getting up and I don't want to leave the podcast.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Was there something you can show us while you
Jeff was
go
used to her
up?
breaking up, and a few days later, she wanted to continue the relationship. Did I already play that comment? No. Did I
No,
play
but Jeff was used to her break. No, yeah, she did say that.
that? Okay. Yeah.
No, maybe she said different. Breaking up,
Um,
and then a few days later.
maybe it's this one. Hold on, I'm looking real quick. I'm sorry. I
Is there
really,
something else you can show us?
well, I was going
No.
to show you. I was just going to read 2 quotes, but it was in the printer. Somebody go to the printer. Somebody. Wait, maybe I could
Oh
call
no,
Johnny.
they're not reopening the Pike County masquerade case. They're who's going on trial? Billy, the father. So
Okay.
so there's some of them were already convicted.
Well, just George.
No, George,
And
just George. Well,
Angela-
and the son, Jake, right? So he outright
He wasn't convicted.
Yeah.
No, he pled. He pled out
Right.
to get the
Okay,
death penalty off the table. So he didn't have an actual trial. The only person
Right.
who had a trial was George, and George was found guilty. And there's people that really think he's innocent.
Yeah. And I could see that when I watched that on Peacock. I could see how you only had to have one person doubt the story, but you know what? I don't know. It sounds too plausible that he was part of it. I mean, especially the way they were so tight knit, and not. But then again, that's also a type of mental abuse. I think their mother, was definitely mentally abusing them. So I could see him wanting to. So it could be true that he wanted to get away, but didn't know how or couldn't.
And I know that the prosecution says that the reason why they wiped out all 8 members of that family is because they feared that they would come after them. But I actually think it's way more than that.
You mean there's more to it?
Yeah, I think there's more motive. I think that the 2 guys were friends and they were involved in drugs, and there was even mentioning about cartel. They did rule out any cartels in the area as being responsible for those murders, but
the thing, I forgot which one said it, but like George, but no, because George literally, his best friend, one of them that died was his best friend. They were like, according to some of these people that came and spoke on the show, they were saying how they did everything together since the time they were yay tall, and still to the day that he died, they still did things every day, and he killed his best friend. It's like,
it's horrible.
How do you do that?
That is such a creepy case. It totally freaks me out, especially when they talked about how the girl showed up and was walking through and finding the little boy answering the door. Saying that my dad is playing zombie. Yeah. And the babies were all covered in blood. And blood, yeah. Yeah, just horrifying case. And
it's I want to say it's like, it's so like
Did you watch any of the testimony at all?
No, you mean on YouTube? No, I just watched the Peacock thing.
So if you could watch any 2 testimonies in the case of George Wagner. No, just George Wagner's trial. Okay. Watch Tabitha. She is the girlfriend of George Wagner, or I don't think they were married. She was the girlfriend. Oh, I need that. Hand it to me. Can you hand it to me real quick?
Her earbuds don't reach.
Guys, look my notes. I'm so excited. Anyway.
Oh, wait, Tabitha and who else? Real quick.
Tabitha and then Jake Wagner's second, the wife he married in Alaska. I think her name is Elizabeth.
She was good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Another one?
Elizabeth. I think it was Elizabeth.
I know what you're talking about. She said some really cool stuff on Peacock alone.
Elizabeth or Tabitha?
Yeah. Okay. Elizabeth. And Tabitha too. There's just so many people.
Yeah. Okay. Guys, I'm excited because I have my quotes. All right. And a couple other notes. So I'll try to be really quick, okay?
Oh boy.
Because I had to wing the guilty part because I did not have the second part of my notes, and I'm so mad. I wish I could just do them over, but I won't do that to y'all. I won't do that to you all. But okay. So my final say about this is that she either planted the idea. Okay. We're talking about Wendi now. She probably knew, but had no part in the planning, which still would make her guilty anyway, at minimum. I also think Georgia Kappelman has not revealed all her cards yet, and she has a ton of evidence, and she's being very strategic by trying each person and each one of the Adelsons and the Hitmen and all that in order. Just a little fun fact. Wendi's no longer practicing law. She can't get a job. Keeping a low profile, and here are some quotes from people that live down there in Miami.
Okay.
And
And where are these quotes from?
they're from Reddit. They're people that are on Reddit that talk about the case, and they're just interesting.
Okay.
You could take them or leave them. You don't have to believe it
Okay.
if you don't want to. So anyway, quote, I live in Miami and run in the same circles as her. Several of my friends have said that Wendi has reached out and asked to hang out, but they're ignoring her. She's definitely trying very hard to stay integrated into an upper-class socialite lifestyle, but it's simply not happening. Then there's a second quote here, and it's a little longer. Quote, I've seen it suggested that she really wasn't devoted to her sons. Only her mother was. Being close to her parents meant full-time help, and she would be free for her career and, more importantly, her social life. They say she used her boys as a way to get her mom riled up by saying Dan would fight to have her only seeing them during supervised visits. Wendi thought that her brother Charlie was gross and a joke. They never got along well, not as children, teens, or adults. Charlie, troubled and a classic middle child, played right into her hands, desperate to please his parents and have a more important, reliable role in his family, while fancying himself a tough guy. The custody issue was important to Dan Markel and Donna. For Wendi, it was money and her reputation and the need to be the star in her marriage. She manipulated everyone in her life and implicated her brother and mother on purpose, in case things went south for her. She forgot to delete Donna's vicious emails, but somehow deleted her responses to them. Charlie was the first person she mentioned as a possible killer. If she isn't charged, not only would it be a travesty of justice, but Wendi will be happier and free and richer than ever. I just wanted to share those two. You know,
I would like to know how does anybody know that she erased them?
Like I said,
That's the assumption.
No, I don't think it's an assumption. I mean, I could probably look that up. I mean, if
Yeah.
you want, I'll look it up.
Yeah, I would want. You don't have to look it up now. We can look up later. But
Okay.
I mean, I would like to know.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotcha. All right, so we're gonna do the Piketon murders. We're having a little bit of discrepancy in time because I have a crazy day on Friday, but we might be able to do it around 5. You said
Yeah, probably around
5
5.
o'clock. I think
5 or for like 4:30ish, kind of like that.
okay. If something goes wrong,
But
with
my
that-
time, by the way, my time 4:30, so that would be like 3:30 your time.
Yeah, I have to
Yeah.
go get a passport for one of my children. I have an appointment I've got to make. Yes.
Okay.
I should be back by that time, so I think that would be good. It is going to be earlier in the day, so
Yeah.
I hope everybody.
So
can
if you
still
can't
join
get us, oh, by the way, if you like and share and subscribe, if you can't get on with us live, then of course it's recorded, so you can always catch it later.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, like for real. Like right now, if you have not subscribed, make sure that you do. And we're Moms for Justice. And if you have any cases that you want us to cover or
Yes.
anything, it doesn't even have, anything. It could be something personal to you. Maybe there was a murder that happened in your town and you want to talk about it. Just fun fact, somebody reached out today. I reached out to him because he posted something on a true crime board that I'm on that he thinks that his great-great-grandfather was the victim of a 1930s serial killer. And I reached out to him and he said he'll come on the show. I think that's really, really cool. So that would be really awesome, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's an old crime, but it's still a crime. I'll take it. Why not?
I think that's really interesting. And he's having he said the bodies were being exhumed in a couple weeks from the victims, I guess, and he's gonna go and get DNA testing done.
He's going to submit his DNA, right?
He's going to submit his DNA and have it tested against the bodies that they were.
So should we have him on before he goes for the DNA test?
know.
Well, let's see what he can do.
Yeah, I'm going to talk
Let's
to
see
him
if he
first.
says
And
yes.
I've got to
yeah.
look up the killer from the 30s. I want to read about him. I'm excited, and I don't want to say his name here because I just.
We may have to go to
wait.
the library for that. I don't know. It might be on.
You don't need no library with the internet today.
Well, who says that it could be on? What's that? Microfresh or what I'm talking
Let
about?
me tell you something. I'll find it.
1930s. Okay.
He said he was the butcher of, gosh, I'll tell you.
For what town?
Hang on. Cleveland. I think he said Cleveland.
Is this another Ohio thing? What's up with all the murders in Ohio?
Oh, well, some people, I don't know. Okay, wait. So he said, I'm just trying to find that original post there because it's the butcher. Oh wait. I think I got it. Mad Butcher of Kingsbury, run from Cleveland. Kingsbury run from Cleveland. So yeah, I'll have to look it up. Yeah,
right.
but okay. So it's great seeing you guys. I mean, hearing you guys or seeing your messages and all. And yeah, that's it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so
For
much
sharing.
for joining us, and we'll see you on
Yes.
Friday.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the hosts and guests. All individuals mentioned are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.